All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a question that sounds simple, but is honestly huge. How does AI actually learn? I mean, really think about that for a second. How does a chunk of code go from zero to driving a car or knowing exactly what song you want to hear next? It feels like magic, right? But it's not. It's a process. And you know what? By the time we're done here, you're going to get it. You'll understand exactly how it all works. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to understand a major shift in thinking. For the longest time, programming was all about giving a computer a super strict set of rules. Like, if this happens, do exactly that. End of story. AI learning, it completely flips that script. It's all about moving away from those rigid rules to something way more flexible, something that can kind of think for itself. Here's a good way to think about it. A traditional program, that's like a really, really strict recipe. You follow the steps one by one, and you get the same cake every single time, no exceptions. But an AI, that's more like a chef. You give it the ingredients, which in this case is data, and it starts to learn. It experiments, it figures out what works. And the key thing here, the real game changer, is that it gets better over time, all on its own. It adapts without some programmer having to jump in and rewrite the code every time something new comes along. And you know, it's a lot like how we learn. I mean, think about a toddler learning to walk, right? They try to stand up, they fall over. That fall, that's feedback. They process it, adjust their balance, and try again. It's that same loop. Try, fail, learn, repeat. AI is built on that very same idea of trial and error. So, okay, how does this actually happen under the hood? It's not like a switch flips and suddenly the AI knows things. Nope, it's a constant process. We can actually break it down into a pretty simple three-step recipe that's really the foundation for almost all modern AI. And here's the absolute number one rule. It all starts with data. Everything. And I really mean everything. Data is the fuel. It's the food. It's the air that AI breathes. Without just massive, massive amounts of information, we're talking millions of images, entire libraries of text, the AI has literally nothing to learn from. It's just an empty box. So this whole process runs on a loop. And this loop, this is the real heart of what we call machine learning. Step one, you feed the AI a mountain of data. Step two, the AI gets to work training, which is just a fancy word for digging through all that data and looking for patterns. And then, step three, it uses what it found, those patterns, to make a prediction. Basically, an educated guess about something new, something it's never seen before. Now, I keep saying patterns. What does that even mean? Well, it's not that complicated. It's just the similarities that pop up over and over again in the data. So if an AI is learning to spot cats in photos, the patterns are things like pointy ears, whiskers, that specific cat eye shape. You get the idea. If it's a voice assistant, the patterns are the unique sound waves that make up the word hello. It's all about finding those connections. But, you know, making one guess isn't the amazing part. The truly incredible thing about AI is that it gets smarter. It improves over time. And the secret sauce to all of that improvement, it comes down to one word: feedback. Let's walk through an example. Imagine we've just trained our AI on a ton of animal photos. Now we show it a new picture, one of a dog. And the AI takes a look and says, cat. Whoops, it's wrong. But here's the crazy part. In the world of AI, being wrong is one of the most useful things that can happen. See, that wrong answer is the feedback. It tells the system, hey, whatever you just did, it didn't work. That kicks off a whole process of adjustment. The AI basically goes back, looks at its own internal logic, and tweaks things around so it's less likely to make that exact same mistake next time. And so, what happens? The next time it sees a picture of a dog, that new, adjusted logic kicks in. And this time, bam, it gets it right. Dog. That cycle, predict, get feedback, adjust, repeat, that is literally learning in action. That's how it gets smarter. And this entire process, this loop we've been talking about, well, it has a name. You've heard it before: machine learning. That's what this is. It's the engine that powers most of the AI you see today. It's what allows a machine to teach itself and get better just by chewing on more data and learning from what it gets right and what it gets wrong. So you might be wondering, how does it adjust itself? What's happening inside the machine? Well, often the tech behind this is something called a neural network. And just like the name sounds, it's a system that's kind of inspired by the web of connections in our own brains. When the AI gets feedback that it was wrong, it literally goes in and strengthens some of those digital connections and weakens others, nudging itself closer to the right answer for next time. And when you zoom out and look at the results, the trend is crystal clear. The AI's performance isn't just a flat line. The more data it sees and the more times it goes through that feedback loop, we're talking from hundreds of tries to thousands to millions, the better and better it gets. With AI, practice really does make perfect. Scale is everything. Okay, so this is all incredibly impressive stuff, right? But, and this is a really important but, it leads to one of the biggest misunderstandings about AI. We have to be super clear. This amazing learning process is not the same thing as a human mind, not even close. And look, this isn't just some academic point. It matters because this stuff is everywhere in your life. When you talk to Siri or Alexa, that's AI. When Netflix just knows what movie you want to watch, that's AI. Even the spam filter in your email is running on this same process. They're all incredibly powerful, super specialized tools, but they aren't thinking, feeling, mind. So here's the bottom line. AI is an unbelievable pattern matching machine. It can see connections in massive piles of data that we could never hope to. But humans, we can learn from just one or two examples. Why? Because we have context, we have common sense. An AI doesn't understand that a dog is a furry companion. It just calculates the probability that a pattern of pixels matches the dog category. It's an amazing tool for one specific job, not the flexible, do-anything intelligence we have. So let's just recap the whole thing one last time. Here's that learning loop. It all kicks off with data. The AI trains on that data to find patterns. It uses those patterns to make a prediction, a guess. Then it gets feedback. Was it right or wrong? It uses that feedback to improve, to adjust its own wiring. And then it does it again, and again, and again, millions of times, getting just a tiny bit smarter with every single loop. And understanding this whole loop is so important. Because at the end of the day, an AI is just a mirror. It only learns from the data we give it. It only knows what we teach it. So the real question isn't about what the machine can do, is it? It's about us. Now that we know how this thing learns, what's the most important problem we should ask it to solve? What's next? Now that is something worth thinking about.